Gonna keep it short and sweet. Get those tickets saved up. Saved and ready for the beginning of October's update. Because I feel like a storm is brewing after having to go toe to toe with BARAN. Now that we have defeated him, or hopefully you guys have defeated him, but now that we've had our fun to go against him, and that now he's an official boss going forward for the game, to have access to his weapon, that is when things are going to be cooking. The Demon King's dagger, that is right, BARAN's dagger, those are going to be at our disposal in the next update. Not as in the next update that's happening in 3 days time, the one that's going to be happening in the beginning of October when the release of Gina. So when Gina happens, that is when the new wind dagger weapons are releasing. Now, the reason why I'm here on the workshop of Brilliant Light is because one, I need to get it done, but two, I also wanted to give you guys a bit of a visual look on the competition, right? Because like, it's a no-brainer. The developers are aware with how strong the West Wind weapon truly is. I mean, they've also acknowledged it to say that you know, it is being forcefully used in situations where the wind element has no advantage play going on, right? Making it so that, I mean, it's not exactly cheating, but you know, they've tried their best to put things in place so that the wind element doesn't, or sorry, the west wind doesn't overly get used, because you know, the abuse of the west wind at the very beginning and still kind of till now, yeah, we're abusing the heck out of it, and why not, right? You've got 2 burst shots that if you crit, that's pretty much the, you know, the reward that we get. You do insane amount of damage, of course, and so taking all of that into consideration, of course, I mean, again, doing crazy amount of damage. The developers have a lot on their plate on, in my eyes, having to produce a weapon that is worthy of our summoning, because at the end of the day you don't want it in another situation, because of course with the release of the Scanny Pistol, immediately the first thing people were all kind of trying to compare and notice was that, is it worth summoning for? I already have a water type weapon, do I need to waste my tickets to go for this next weapon? Is it better? Is it the next best thing? Right? Turns out, no. The Grimoire was still the better water type weapon, and so the Scanny Pistol, I assume, didn't probably perform as well in terms of sales, right? Because there's no real need to waste your tickets for a weapon, for a water type weapon, that if you have the better version of it, being the Grimoire, of course. And it's kind of like the same thing going forward with like every new weapon that they release. Is it better than this? It is better than that. The wind element, this is the first SSR summonable weapon that we're going to get, excluding the day 1 SSR sword, of course, the long sword, of course, right? So this is going to be fresh, this is going to be new, this is going to first new weapon, of course, and the competition is it going to outdo the West Wind? And the damage output wise, I mean, it has got a lot on its plate to outdo it, and so that is one of the big reasons why I'm pushing to say save your tickets, knowing that it's competing against the West Wind, and knowing that the developers are aware with how strong that weapon is. They even did like a slight little tiny nerf upon the global release, but yeah, it didn't really matter because the weapon itself is still fantastic. And so yeah, that is one of the big reasons why I'm pushing for, to say, prepare your tickets, get ready, because you know for a fact that they are going to try and sell you that weapon, and clearly, if it's not as good as the West Wind, then there's going to be absolutely no reason for you to go and use your tickets. There's going to be absolutely no reason for the whales to even go fully to try and max it out. I assume that the passives are going to be a huge sell factor in my eyes, right? They're going to try and cater to building up the passive so that the dagger itself does some immense damage. But you got 1, it's competing against the West Wind, and 2, it's BARAN's daggers. You know, so it does hold some value to the name of it, so that's one of the big reasons why I'm really looking forward to this. I really thought that we were going to get a wind weapon beforehand in the previous update, not the one with Harper, but the one beforehand, and again, that I've been waiting for this day, because I just want to see on how this new SSR wind weapon will compete, because knowing how good the West Wind is, so I'm eager to see where things go. Now, I feel like there's 2 directions that they can take this. Number 1, clearly make it a DPS weapon, right? Maybe make it so that it slightly outdoes the West Wind, slightly, because that's all you really need to do, to be fair. Just give that slight advantage play to be like, yep, even if it gives me that slight advantage play, we're going for it. Or make it so that it provides DPS damage, maybe close, maybe on par to the West Wind, who knows, but also provide support to fully cater more to the wind element damage, so that way running the new daggers and the West Wind together is like a complete package to do some disgusting amount of wind damage. I think those are the only two directions I can see them taking to then make it sell, or to give that incentive, should I say. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping we get news early on, but it's going to be releasing in about 3 weeks time. So save your custom draw. I'm saving all my custom draw tickets, and I highly suggest you guys to do the same. This, I feel like, will be a full-on DPS weapon, just like how they did the spear weapon being dark DPS, Phoenix Solbo, fire DPS. It could be following that trend. Fingers crossed it is. So we'll have to wait and see. This is it. This is pretty much it for the wind element in terms of the weapons that we have, of course. I mean, early on, yeah, Broker's Dagger wasn't too bad in terms of furthermore supporting the West Wind, so that way you can effectively gain your crit shots. But ultimately, with where things have turned out, and yeah, with like the combinations of the weapons that you can run, I mean, the West Wind is just the wind weapon to go for. It being an SR, it made it fairly easy for people to dupe out, right? Especially if, again, if you're free to play or light spenders, of course. And obviously with that, with how friendly it is for you to work on, of course, and the amount of power it possesses, it really just completely nullifies anything else in terms of wind-wise. If there's any wind advantage play going on where you're playing that Sun Jin-woo, it is the West Wind that is being used. So again, the developers have got a lot on their plate now in order to, in my eyes, outdo it. Either they outdo the West Wind or drop the daggers to where it elevates not only the daggers doing a lot of damage, but it supports the West Wind. If those are those are literally the two best routes to take it if they want to, you know, cook with the daggers themselves. But I have a slight feeling, because of how they've done the previous dark weapon being the spear, with how the Phoenix Solbo has turned out, I think these daggers are coming in DPS heavy, and I feel like the paths are going to be something stupid. Yeah, it's going to be interesting in how they do things. But those are the only two routes I can see them taking it, unless they just want to make it like a another situation as like how the Scatty Pistol turned out. Like, you know, the weapon's there, you get it at a later time, it's nothing to chase. But yeah.